Hello, welcome back to the Olden Shot. I've been on eBay again and spent some money, but I couldn't resist a Nikon camera, two lenses, a 35mm lens with 4 elements and 3 groups, and a 70mm lens with 8 elements in 6 groups, I think. Couldn't resist. So what did we buy for £13? Bit of fun. The Nikon TW2, which is not a zoom camera. It is a twin lens camera, and there's all sorts of things happen with this. Turn it on. It was described as untested, and it came without a battery, it came in a package with, in the package was a battery and a film, an old film which may or may not have been exposed. I'm going to use it as my practice film for darkroom work. The battery, when I put it in, was dead. I was a bit worried because the lens was sticking out on the camera, and normally when you turn the camera off, the lens goes away. But this, the lens was sticking out. Anyway, I bought a new battery. Unfortunately, the batteries for these cameras cost £5. Put it in and it worked. The two lenses, as I mentioned, the 35mm and 70mm. There's a little button on the top which changes it. When you press the button, it goes from 35mm to 70mm. This is a wonderful thing to play with. Notice also the flash and the viewfinder when I change the lens. The viewfinder changes lenses, and also the diffuser on the flash changes. Just playing with that, it could use up a battery quite quickly, so I'm not going to do it anymore. So it's an automatic camera. You can't really control anything. It's a DX camera, so it reads the DX code off the film and sets the ISO itself. You can turn the flash off. When you turn the camera on, the flash is on automatically. There's a little button on the top you can turn the flash off. Unfortunately, every time you take a shot, it resets to the default, which is flash on. It has an ability to take a series of shots, and it also has a self-timer, and that's about all the controls it's got. I took it out. The first was a trip to Wallsend Municipal Cemetery. It was a bit of a mission. I was trying to find my grandfather's grave and failed miserably. It's quite a large cemetery. It's not the most attractive cemetery. It's all the headstones are more or less the same height. There wasn't a lot of wealth in Wallsend, so there's no massive memorials or anything like that. but I had to walk around. The trees, etc. are nicely laid out. Second trip we went into the town of Gosforth, which is a northern, a suburb on the northern edge of Newcastle. Quite a wealthy area, and we had to walk around. I was looking for an old house that had been owned by my maternal grandmother and failed miserably on that. I forgot the address. I should have checked before we left. The walk was just to have a look at some of the buildings and the park at Gosforth. Of course, it's not the most attractive time of year, where most of the leaves have fallen now, but one thing about bare trees is you can see the structure of the trees, and I find that quite attractive to look at. So we'll have a look at the shots and then I'll tell you what I think about the camera. The photographs were taken on Fomapan 100, developed in Ilfotec LC29, just the standard timings. I was a bit more careful with my processing in that recently I've been making sure that the temperature of the developer was perfect, but not taking so much care on the temperature of the stop bath and the fixer. And having seen a YouTube video from somebody who I respect saying that it was important to have the temperature constant for all the chemicals to prevent shock on the film and developing problems, I kept the temperatures even throughout, and I've got to say I've seen an improvement in the developing. It's probably the best development I've done for quite a while. The camera itself was quite good to use. It's easy to use. Of course, you just press a button. It decides whether it needs flash or not, unless you've turned it off. The lenses 35mm and 70mm, easy enough to switch. You don't even need to check because there's only two buttons on that side. One's the shutter release and one's the lens button. So shutter release there, lens changing button there. The photographs show that for that type of camera the photographs are what you would expect. They're not professional sharpness, but they're an awful lot better than a Kodak Instamatic. This would have been a family camera, weddings, holidays, parties, things like that, days out, and it's perfect for that. It's sharp enough for that. I was happy to use it because it's fun to use these different cameras. I did find that in certain dull light it hunts for focus. Focus confirmation comes from little green light next to the viewfinder, which you can see in your peripheral vision. There's also an orange light comes on if it's needing the flash. So sometimes it hunts for focus, and the way I got around that was I just moved the camera around till I found the focus, and I kept it half pressed, recomposed and shot. The flash went off twice during the film where I was under a tree taking shots of leaves. I don't know if I've included them, but it's alright. For £13, happy with this camera, and I know that my good lady has looked at it and she thinks it looks like a nice camera to use, so she might be taking film shots herself soon. So that's it for now. That's the Nikon TW2, a twin lens compact point and shoot. It's not that compact, it's also not very light. It does feel quite solid. Believe it or not, at one time Nikon actually advertised this as the thinnest twin lens camera in the world. It's about, well, from the edge of the lens to the back of the camera, it's about 1.5 inches. That's by the by. It'll fit in a decent sized pocket, and it's got built-in lens hood, so it's all very easy to carry around and use. I could imagine it being quite useful for street photography. Architectural photography, you might find the lenses a bit limiting. Anyway, that's it. We'll be back with more cameras and more films soon. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.